reach further. It began with a single step, marking our first journey into the unknown. From horse hooves thundering across plains, we learned to harness nature's power. To ships crossing vast oceans, connecting worlds that seem forever apart. Steel and steam forged our path forward, machinery breathing life into our dreams. Until railways united nations, iron horses racing toward tomorrow. Then our minds took flight, breaking free from physical bounds. Through mathematics, through science, unlocking the universe's deepest secrets, into digital realms and artificial minds where imagination knows no limits. This is our journey from earthbound dreamers to creators of new worlds. This is Flux, for the people, by the people.
Very good evening. A very late good evening, I guess, for you, Steve.
Yeah, it's in the early hours of the morning, but that's all right. It's nice and quiet. All the kids are asleep, so it's about the only time I get to do anything of usefulness sometimes. So,
all right, we got the folks from Telestai on the AMA this morning. No Dan this morning. He's taking a break. I'm not sure what that is. Sorry for the beeping in the back. The missus is making bread, so I hope she turns that off. Also, I'm wearing a pretty cool shirt this morning. Aggressively Canadian. Sorry. So just so you guys know. We got a lot to talk about today. There's a lot of updates, you guys. You guys have been busy. So let's dive straight into it. So, bit of a quick check-in. What you guys have been building out? Want to show something today?
Lots. Actually, some pretty exciting stuff, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Our focus. So, just a little bit of a wrap up. We had a period of kind of, I suppose, sprint is the best word for it. So, we sat down in January and went, okay, well, we got kind of this sort of working proof of concept, and it looks okay, and there's some opportunities here that we can definitely see, and that was sort of around the time that we had a chat. Zach and some of the devs and I sat down and went, okay, how do we actually build this out to make it look and feel like a proper platform? So we went back to sort of a lot of the vision that we'd sort of cast and sort of said, Web3 is all about usability. Web3 is all about making sure that we look and feel like a product that people are using currently. But more importantly, Web3 is about sort of engaging with those concepts of where are we technologically and how do we make sure that we're keeping in step with what's going on, but also keeping true to our vision. So we spent a lot of time working on two specific areas. First was the digital ID, which we've called Zeroa, which I'm about to kind of show you in a second. And the second part to that was Lasko itself. So looking at how do we make sure that the platform that we're building interacts with that digital ID as best as we can. In and amongst that, we had a fair bit of work going on in the background. So we had Rhubarb Media help us with a lot of the branding. So we built out some branding that we believe fits with what we're trying to do, which is great. So it gives it its own unique identity. And we also worked on the Telestai CB, which is the what do we call it? Operating system that helps us to be censorship resistant. So a lot of kind of a bit of a spider web in terms of many of the things that are going on. But we've managed to pull them all together in about 3 and a bit months, which is pretty cool, I think. The team is
that's fast.
Yeah. So they got down and moded, and I'm amazed at what they produced, really. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, so that's sort of where we were up to date. In and amongst that, we watched as there was a fair bit going on around in the market. So lots of change that was going on in the market itself, but we have managed to sort of keep ourselves above water and moving through. Hey, Kitty.
Yeah, sorry about the cat. Decided to jump in.
All right. Well, mine's outside hunting mice, I think. So yeah.
It's always interesting to say, like you because we go through the same process, right? You build a concept, you vision the concept, you build that out, and then you're like, it's good, but now we need to kind of modify it to make it presentable, usable. You go from that pure development thinking and then going into that user thinking. It's always an interesting change to see, because sometimes people start with the user interface, making it really cool looking and all that, and then they're like, yeah, we can't really make that happen in the back end. So it's always kind of like a chicken and the egg type of thing, where if in the development phase. But yeah, I'm pretty curious to see what you guys have built so far. I don't know if you're able to show that to us.
Yeah, look, I think we can. So what I'll do is, if we just sort of jump to, I think I'm presenting something. I'm not sure how we get that up.
I can bring that up. Let me see here.
That'd be cool.
Let's make us a little smaller. There you go.
So yeah, this is Zeroa. So this is the digital ID that we've sort of been talking about. You'll probably notice that it's got removed from Chrome because I've got it installed at the moment, but I've actually got it installed, which is great. But this is now live and available for people to download on the Chrome store, which is great. So we've actually got that through their hoops, which is an experience, let me tell you. So that's sort of been one thing that we were interested in. But more importantly, we've kind of got it in a place where we can kind of showcase to people what's going on. So as you can see, we've got some lovely new branding, digital fingerprint with a little Z. We're really impressed with what Chad did there. But the actual ID itself is really simple to kind of install. And it will sit just in your taskbar, just where some of your favorites and extensions are. But effectively what it is, it's a BIP39 wallet that is basically embedded in your Chrome extension. We're looking to obviously push that into Safari and other web browsers as well. And there is the intention to put it into like an app for your phone so that it can be utilized on your phone. But the point behind it is that it actually is one of the first sort of proof of work coins that's had something like this happen from an extension point of view, which is really cool. Importantly, what it also does is it allows the utilization of the signature piece that sits within core wallets to be utilized in a really interesting way. So what this grants us is the chance to log into a platform, very similar to how, I don't know if you use Google when you log in with Google or Gmail, and it pops up that little section just there. And we've actually created that for what we're doing with Zeroa and Lasko. So that signature piece actually interacts, which is really cool.
And that's tied to your computer, or that's something you can move around? Like if I have two computers, I can use that elsewhere, or how does it work?
Yeah, so it is actually recoverable like any core wallet. You can actually install this on other computers utilizing the 12 seed phrase. What that means is that not your keys, not your identity, which is the really critical piece to this is your keys mean you've got access to it. Now, obviously, there's a piece in here where if you leave your laptop open, someone could utilize that. So that's one thing that we do want to identify is you've still got to be relatively secure with the way that you use it, but logging out and then obviously withdrawing their extension means that it just completely falls off the computer, and your 12 seed is therefore the password to get in. But effectively it's transferable like any core wallet would be to different computers. So and it retains all that information about who you are, in sense of your address is what logs you into the ecosystem. So the address then ties you back, and you can basically log on using any laptop or computer and still access Lasko with your username.
So this is what you use then to get on the platform you guys have been building out. That's how I see it. That basically identifies me as the account on your platform. Is that how I can see it then?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Pretty cool. So what I might also do is I might just present. It's going to loop it a little bit, which is never the easiest thing. But if I just jump here and share this, it'll loop for a little bit, but I'll just jump across then and show how it actually interacts with Lasko. So whack that on and it should come across, I think.
Whenever you're ready, I can bring it on the screen.
Yep, go for it now. Awesome. So what we've got here is obviously Lasko, the platform, which is great. Now you can obviously see the branding has been completely renewed. Chad took the concept of what we were working with quite seriously, which is great. So just a quick reminder, Lasko is a cave that's in France. It has some of the oldest artwork in known history. But what it has in there is stories that those people painted, which I think is a really powerful piece of the
original Twitter.
Yeah, literally the original Twitter. So I love that. I think that story is really powerful, but it shows that we are storytellers, and we always like to record and put things up. So we've sort of used that as the inspiration for the platform itself. Now, what you can probably see here is just the Zeroa here, which is the extension itself. It shows the coin that I've got there, but also my address, which is going to be critical moving forward. So we click on the little get started just here, which is pretty cool. And then all of a sudden we see a couple of nodes line up. Now, What's important to note here is the Lasko node will always be free and accessible. So consider that kind of like your home base. You always get access to that. The Minor World is a small community node, which we've got one of the community members to start up so that we can obviously work with the testing of that. But the intention behind that is that different creators will be able to create their own node, and access to that will be through, either a subscription or however the remuneration decision is that they make. But just kind of,
are you going to keep calling them nodes, or is that like community hubs, or is that how I have to see it? Like,
I think that is genuinely something that we think we need a little bit of communication around. So I think we'll eventually probably talk about them as community hubs or community groups, something like that, because I think it makes much more sense to refer to them to what they truly are. The background behind it won't change in terms of they're going to be nodes that are run from a tech point of view. But definitely you're right. I think the communication around that is going to evolve as we begin to create our own nomenclature. And I think that's going to be great because that allows us to communicate the meaning behind it a little bit easier for people. Yeah. So,
is it fair to say you can you can compare it to like a Facebook group? I know I'm showing my age here now, but is it like Facebook groups, or is it more like a Discord channel? Just for the folks who are not too familiar with what you guys are building out, what can they compare this to?
I think it's a blend of a Facebook group and a Discord sort of channel, in the sense of each channel will have access rights. So will you be able to get in or not? So when you sometimes get into a Facebook group or a Discord channel, you have to verify. That verification process is, you answer a question, or you just prove that you're a human. So what creators will have the chance to do is actually place in that, firstly, do you want to join the channel? Yes. Here's the sort of entry fee or the entry requirements to do that. So the user will be able to actually surf that and see what it is. And then from there, the user will get to agree or decline on that invitation. Now, we want to make sure that creators get the chance to frame whatever that looks like for them. Is it just pay-per-view, so you can enter the community group freely and then pay for the content that you want, or is there a subscription to the content that's required to be paid up front? That decision-making process is going to be passed back to the creator, but the actual channel itself is very reminiscent, as you say, of a Discord channel or a Facebook group.
All right, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Able to show us?
Yeah. So what we do here is we just click on the connect to group. Yep. And it pops up just like a Gmail, log in with Gmail. We sign in with this account just here. I go, yep, that's cool.
And you can have multiple accounts, I'm assuming, right? Like it's not just one account. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So you can actually create, different identities for different groups, which is something that we're going to give the facility for later on. So you might have a work environment where you're got a community group that is specific to you, and that signing will be tied to a specific address. But yeah, essentially it's very similar to that. And then when we click on sign in the community, you'll see pretty quickly it'll go processing. It'll go great, redirection to dashboard, and bang, it is literally that simple. That is the sign in. As we can see here, we've got some users that are coming in and testing it, a couple of posts. I'm in light mode, obviously, because I'm boring and don't go into dark mode as often as I should. But yeah, then we go to articles just here. And as we can see, we've got a lot of the people that have been posting in and around. One thing which is really cool, which I'll just show you just here is, so if we're just creating an article at the moment, we're looking primarily at just the text. So you'll go, well, how do you stop people from, being silly people? And I'll just post something that's a bit weird, or, I hate the weirds. And you'll see just down here a little red dot. It will come up very quickly with phrase to avoid inflammatory language. Now, what is really cool about this is Flux's AI at work. So we've plugged in the background Flux AI to moderate the actual platform itself. And it's moderating based on just basically some keywords. Yeah, specific language that we've got. Now that language is all going to be published so people can see what is and isn't within the boundaries of it. But the important thing is the moderation keeps people safe and it's scalable. So Facebook, for instance, or Meta have about 20,000 moderators that look through and moderate the platforms. We have Flux AI. It's on all the time. Uptime is always. And effectively
that's what we preach, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So it's up all the time and it does the work of, the whole platform. So that's the power of Flux AI, working with our platform here. So it's an actual real world application of AI, which is, I think, really cool. I think it's fantastic.
So then, what about the privacy piece though? Because these can be closed groups. If you're sending it to Flux AI, how do you know it's going to be secure? Like, how do you know that that's not being utilized? I'm asking. No, I know the answer, but
well, I mean, Flux AI is decentralized itself, so it's all through the Flux network, which means that the GPUs are processing it, and that means that the the basis of the decisions are it's following the directions that we give it, and those directions are also published as well. So it's like decentralized meets decentralized, which is sort of coming together in the best possible way.
So this is a complete Web3 product. There's you don't have to KYC because you can just set up your own wallet. You can log in, do your token, your community thing, but it's at the same time it's somewhat protected with the language and all that. So it's not like you're not going to be doing a lot of nasty pieces here because we're keeping it clean with AI without actually having an oversight, without actually having a person verifying what you're doing. It's basically an automated process in the back end that makes sure it stays somewhat clean and it doesn't go off the rails kind of conversation.
Absolutely. And I think that's the key thing to this is when we envisaged this, we knew that, unfortunately, there's always going to be a very minor percentage of the population who like to go down a path that we don't think is appropriate. And I think everyone understands where those boundaries are. So what we're doing is we're protecting those boundaries, utilizing a neutral, police officer effectively. And that's the important thing. It's not politicized. It's not a decision made on, pressure from above. It's a decision made by AI. And I think that's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And just to kind of show how it works on the other hand, let me just so I've just typed in that just here and it'll come up with I'm hoping green. We have it at a pretty close, but yeah. So we just need to let the reins down a little bit. But the idea behind that is, we are effectively allowing you to post what you want, and there's some guardrails around that. So it's pretty cool.
And so that's using Flux AI's APIs in the back end. So the guys basically tied it completely in. Well, that's pretty cool. I knew you guys were testing it with it. I know you were playing with it, but it's kind of neat to see it actually live now. So people can use this already. Like this is
live,
or I'm guessing a beta type of production, but.
Yeah, we think of it as sort of an open beta, and our hope is that, as people see it, they want to jump on and test it really, because I think that's the bit that we need to talk to people about. Is we believe we've got, obviously a lot of, a useful service here, obviously, but pressure testing things is what we want. We want the feedback, and we want people to tell us, try this, do this different, this didn't work for me, or what are the pitfalls? Particularly with the user experience, I think that's the bit that we want to make sure that people get a chance to look at.
Is it fair to compare this to like a Reddit type of environment? Except where there's no more political correctness now, because I hear Reddit is gone a little off the rails there these days.
Yeah, that's exactly what we kind of modeled it on, is a sort of a form of Reddit. So when you click in onto a post here, it drops down very similar to Reddit as well. So you can actually just post, repost, vote accordingly. So the voting is an interesting one. Basically what we've done, and we will be progressing this as a sort of a moderation piece, but In the very slim chances that someone is able to get around the AI, what we're going to do is allow a sort of a reporting feature. That reporting will see active users then sort of prompted to have a look at the post and just see, is this good or bad? There'll be a little bit of voting on that, and then if something does slip through, people will catch it. But if it doesn't, and it's just people being petty, obviously, most people are generally sensible and will go, no, that's fine. So that's sort of the idea behind it is we are ensuring that there's a level of security and safety for everyone, and then a check and a balance on that. So, but yeah, very similar to Reddit. We will be sort of looking at multimedia soon, and that's kind of the next part that we're looking to build in. So this was a bit of a jump forward. Our next piece is going to be...
This is a big jump forward. This is so... You built the framework now, and now it's just adding features on top of it, right? So now you can add, like you said, media. And help me understand, because I saw at the start you had 2 nodes or 2 communities that you had there basically listed. You had the mining one, and then there was the one you're on right now.
Yep.
How hard is it to set up your own community? Is that a couple things that you have to do, or do you have to do something yourself, like host things yourself? How does that work?
So the path that we're going to set forward is that effectively you set up a node by essentially going through a process to define what that community looks like. There'll be obviously some initially there's going to be a few checks and balances because we just want to be really aware of who's using the software, and we want to make sure that we're supporting those people in that process. So there's going to be a lot of hand holding in that interim period. But the end product is going to be basically, let's just use a great example, Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan comes to Lasko and he goes, I want to set up my channel. He'll basically go through a process to say, this is the Joe Rogan channel. I set it up and, this is the amount that I'm going to charge per month. And then basically he sets it up and he'll download a node basically, or rent a node, and that's going to be in the back end through Flux. So we'll basically have the nodes hosted on Flux. That means that no one can take it down because Flux is decentralized, which is what we want for our DNA as well. And also what it means is that storage on that node will be taken care of by Flux as well. So that's kind of the next step that we're moving to.
So you guys are literally using all the pieces that we've been creating the last couple of years. That's pretty cool to hear. And now with Arcane, that all is safe and secure at the same time. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And what that means is that pressure on creators that is coming from alternate sources doesn't mean that it gets shut down. And I think that's the big piece that we're really wanting to push forward on is you can't just be shadow banned or shut down because you've posted something that people don't like. It's not illegal. It's not anything else. It's just people don't like it. I know, for instance, like there's I don't know how the situation is these days in Australia, but here in Canada, we keep hearing we have to turn off X or Twitter, however you want to call it, for all the misinformation. Basically, the government saying we can't control that information, so it's automatically misinformation. All of these pieces are really starting to come together. So a platform like this makes it a lot more robust against straight up banning a platform like X at this point. And there's no, and they can send cease and desist orders to anybody in Influx. There's nothing we can do to stop this. That's the beauty of the platform. I love seeing this. This is unfortunately, it's becoming very needed in the near future, it seems. I get why governments like to do that, and I understand that there's a lot of information out there that is not always 100% correct, but at the same time, it's not because it's not correct that it's not some that's what people are feeling or talking about. I think what we... And sorry, I'm going a little political here. But what I always thought was a government should not be interfering with that. If they feel like the information is not correct, then it's up to them to put out the information
more accessible, more their, or at least their version of the facts, at least publicly easily accessible, and then people will make their decision on that or not, and it's still up to them. So I
Yeah.
got a question here from the community, and it's actually a fair question. So who is Telestai? We're diverting a little here, but I do want to bring that up because our community might not always, although we post a lot of it, although we share all the content that you guys produce, it's never a bad thing to quickly go through who is Telestai.
Yeah, sure. I'll just
what is Telestai?
stop sharing so I can actually look at you, because it's a bit easier to look at you a bit better. So Telestai is basically a band of, I think we're up to 7 people at this point. So there's myself, Chief, who wrote the I think Son of a Tech called it a manifesto, and I really have liked that because I think it's appropriate. But effectively, I wrote the manifesto back in, I think it was November of 23 is how far back I wrote it. And I wrote it after kind of watching a lot of different things that made me go, this, there needs to be a paradigm shift here. There's a lot of stuff that needs to change. So what I basically envisaged in that manifesto is essentially an ecosystem where content and people can have discussions and not fear being shut down in that discussion. That is essentially the ecosystem that we're trying to build. So we're a team of about 7 people. We've got 5 of them are devs. 5 devs. And we've got Chad, who's also our marketing and strategic guy, who is helping us with the branding and how do we do the socials and stuff. So he's part of Rhubarb Media, and he's sort of been in crypto about 8 years now. And the group of us are basically in the background working towards building this ecosystem out. So we produced Telestai CB, which is the operating system, Zeroa, and Lasko. And Zach is at the moment the head dev. So Zach has worked on a number of different projects as well. So he's a very talented.
I've met Zach. He's a clever guy. So you're in good hands with him.
He's super smart. And I think that's the group itself. So we sort of created this ecosystem to try and build out this ability to have free speech and post content, and then allow the content creators to firstly cut through some of the channels that are difficult to access from a content creator point of view. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people who are very talented out there that can't make their musical breakthrough or their writing breakthrough because they just don't fit the narrative, right? They should be allowed to put up what they've got and post that. And that's kind of my passion, is giving very talented people out there in the community who just don't fit the mold, the platform and the landscape to actually post their content or whatever they've created and allow people to view it and see it.
And on top of that, I guess it's fair to say it's a platform with an intent to make it accessible to everybody without big oversight of a corporate company. Like, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, and so we're on YouTube, that's Google, we're on Twitch, that's Amazon, and we're on X, which is its own platform by itself. But it's good to have an alternative, and I know there's other alternatives out there, but sorry, Rumble, you're starting to become YouTube at this point. I know that's not the ethos, but it's kind of becoming that way anyway. But it's good to have like a platform where you can log in without sharing all your information. You can just log in, do your thing, talk freely with some AI moderation, and just keep the language clean. It's pretty cool. Another question here that the community is asking. So how possible bots will be dealt with? So basically, that becomes an interesting question actually in my book these days, because with AI coming online now, like really becoming a thing, and agents becoming a thing, which, let's be honest, are just bots. Some of these things might not be a bad thing that there's bots being able to get on the platform, but at the same time, I understand you don't want spam it cheaters. So like, how do you guys envision that?
So just to kind of explain how we're designing it, because this is a really great question. This is something that I have a real problem with in the current platforms. So to take a step back and to explain something, X, as an example, is a centralized platform. Now, how it remunerates the creators that are on that is it has a central bucket of cash, right? So it has essentially advertisers feed into that bucket of cash, and then that cash is then redistributed as a percentage to the creators. That redistribution is based off impressions. It's based off the activity that they have, and it's effectively an algorithm. Okay, so it's an algorithm that it deduces and pushes forward content to make it more available. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but there are several botnets that are playing that algorithm at the moment that exist on X. What they're doing is they basically have worked out how the X algorithm works. They post content that grabs that sort of impression, and then they are rewarded with cash from that bucket of money, even though they're not actually producing anything of worth, right? So
the engagement troll type of bots. Oh, those are I see a lot of people bringing up these type of things, and the rage that it builds, and then all the people jumping, and it's kind of just farming that rage. It's interesting the world we live in these days, that you can make money on anger now. So
yeah, absolutely. So those bots operate quite cleverly. I'm not going to deny they do operate cleverly because they're playing on the centralized bucket. Now, what we're going to do is a couple of things. One, we're going to require users when we move into full production to hold, not pay us, but actually hold a certain amount of flux within their TLS within their.
I wouldn't mind if you guys hold Flux.
They're going to basically be required to hold a certain amount of TLS in their Zeroa account, and that holding will be verified at that certain time as, okay, that's a human that has pushed through it. Now, how we'll know it's a human is there'll probably be something like an Arcros challenge that they'll need to go through, and then a holding amount that they need to do that will be very specific. So we're thinking at the moment something the equivalent of $1 to $2 to $3 US, and what that will do is it'll create a financial requirement to buy into the platform. Now that holding is there. It's always going to be theirs. It's never going to be ours. But it essentially will validate that user as genuine. That's going to be one of the primary things that we do. The second part is the requirements to install the extension and the sort of ways that we're going to validate the user will be very specific to prevent bots. So we know that botnets are very smart. They're probably going to try to find a way to game us, but we believe that if we take the right steps at each turn, we'll be able to cut them off at the pass. And that's sort of what we're going to try and do is continually change the guardrails for those bots and make sure that they can't beat us.
Just don't make me go through the motion where I have to pick the traffic light, and then there's this little sliver that is like, is that part of it or not? And then seven captures later, you're still trying to figure out what a staircase is. I'm like, at this point, I think I'm the bot at almost.
Yeah, no, and it's always like the ones that it's just cuts across.
Yeah, like do I pick it or not? And nobody knows what the real answer is on that. By the way, it's so funny because I've had family discussions like up for hours where we're like, okay, guys, is this part of it or not? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm the IT guy, but I don't know. I rather sometimes leave a website than just try to go to the motion. It's pretty cool that you guys are at least thinking of it. Like, and at the same time, we are moving into a world now where agents and bots are becoming like, we're literally becoming the Jetsons at this point in my book. If again, I'm showing my age here, but if you know the cartoon back in the day of the Jetsons where everything was like automated and even the guy didn't have to walk anymore, he was just standing there.
Yeah,
that's the world we're starting to live in now. Is that you're gonna have agents talking to agents, and it's pretty cool. Like, but it is a concern. You don't want to have, just bots farming your anger at this point. Like, it's kind of crazy how that all is becoming a thing.
one of the ideas that we had is we want this to be a place where people know there's genuine humans behind it. That's kind of the point. Like I call it's so in my kind of 9 to 5, I work with wine, and one of the keys to wine is what's called provenance, which is you know the source of where you're getting the fruit from that turns into the wine. And I think digital provenance is actually really important. Knowing that something has come from an actual human is going to be the next validation that we as a culture require, because you want to know that it's not an AI generated thing, whatever it might be, widget, whatever statement. And I think that's really important. So to have a digital identity that can sign and say, yes, that is actually me, it's not a digital bot or something like that, is, I think, a big step forward.
Yeah. So what's next for you? You guys touched already a little bit on including more Flux stuff, but what else are you guys? I was like, what's the next step for you guys? So you got the platform, you got the framework. It looks pretty cool. Just one request, and I'm surprised nobody's asked for it yet. Can we have dark mode as well?
Yes, yes, we can. I promise there's dark mode in there.
Normally they're grilling me for this stuff, and nobody's speaking up, so I'm like a little offended here, guys, just so you know. So framework is done. You can log in. What's next?
Next is going to be obviously the back end and ensuring that creators can store their content through Flux on the platform, and then load it up into the Lasko ecosystem so people can view it. So that's the next bit. And then probably the 2 further steps along is the payment processing. So making sure that creators can charge according to what they require as you enter their node. That's one part. And the second part is an on-ramp primarily. So Zeroa will have built into it at one point an on-ramp to allow your standard non-crypto native human being who doesn't want to necessarily go to an exchange and isn't mining at that time, the opportunity to buy TLS to then pay for the content that they want to see. So that's something that we're going to build into Zeroa and allow people to do easily and simply.
What does that mean, easily and simply? Is that still you're going to require the Web3 type of technology to log in, or are you thinking Web2 where people can use Stripe and PayPal? Is that how I see it, or is it going to require TLS?
I think there's a little bit of bleed, because you can't completely remove, Web2 elements are always going to exist, right? Credit cards, PayPal, etc. That's always going to sort of be a feature of life as I see it. So we will integrate the opportunity for you to buy using either a credit card or a PayPal account or something. So there will be a payment processing element to that, but it'll essentially mean that you go on to, again, Joe Rogan's, you say it's $5 a month. I want to pay for that. Oh, I don't have enough TLS. I need to buy some. So click buy, input the required documentation that you need, which is, credit card payment or whatever. And then like that, it's done. And it goes off. Yeah.
Now, Ghosty just brought it up. AI is becoming a thing now, right? Like even Sam's Club. If you don't know what Sam's Club is, it's a very American thing. It's like a Costco, very large grocery store where, it's if you've never been in the States, it's kind of hard to imagine how big these things are, but it's like a massive hall where you can buy everything and anything. And Sam's Club is one of those examples. So AI is going to be everywhere in our day-to-day life. Like there's even because I had people come to me like, why are you pushing that so hard? I'm like, if I'm not pushing it, somebody else is gonna do it. It's so intertwined already in your day-to-day, you don't even realize it. Somebody else asked a good question.
So that's actually interesting. I think we can be able to integrate that in. That's something I need to talk to Zach at the moment about, is can we use the Zelcore 12 seed wallets? So because it's BRP39, it will require a seed phrase to log in, because what that means is there's no retained login information by Zeroa. So essentially, that's the critical piece. We wanted to make sure people were secure in that. I think there will be an opportunity to use Zelka wallets that are 12 seed in that process. It's just going to be a matter of working that out. So yeah, that's certainly something that we've got on our radar as we want to, make it as cross-functional as possible.
And then LZ brings up a really good point here. You're absolutely right. I don't think all the big platforms, and at that point, it was not really a thing as much either. Like bots, they knew some people were able to do this type of stuff, but like what they're battling every day these days now is getting out of hand, and they can't even control it at this point. I think with AI, with an agent, you can set it up so fast now. You can set up thousands of them without even triggering it and making it look like it's a real person, right? Like if you talk to a GPT, Flux AIs or Chat GPT or any other GPTs out there, the interaction you have compared to a couple years ago, it's like talking to a person, and it's scary how it responds. Like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, but how about this? I'm like, are you now thinking for me too? Like what's going on here? Like it's scary, but.
And I think as well, just on that point, like there's a degree of truth in that. Shouldn't it be about the users themselves? And that's exactly what we're trying to get back to. It's we're actually trying to create the environment that users can trust. And I think that's the bit around big centralized social media platforms, that there has been a loss of trust in what that platform is doing and how they operate. What we're trying to do is actually restore that level of trust back into our, via our platform. We're not under any illusion that social media is a little bit like a TV channel at the moment. You flip between different platforms to get what you want. Some people use TikTok and then they flip to Instagram, then they go into YouTube. I understand that, right? Because I don't think that behavior is necessarily going to change. What we want to do is create a platform where people, when they jump into us, they know, 1, that it's secure, 2, it's privacy focused, 3, it's genuine and safe. So if they know that about us, then they haven't got a problem going to it to get what they want. And then when they can't find what they want, yeah, of course they're going to go somewhere else. But our process will be to attract those content creators and all of that stuff that people want slowly but surely onto our platform to make it beneficial for them and then beneficial for the users.
I like that. That's really well put, because that's literally how it should be. You should be able to just switch from platform to platform wherever your interest lies in, and whatever you're comfortable with. That's absolutely the case, right? Like we grew up at one point with cable TV where you had 100 channels, and you're like, oh, I don't like that one, but I like that one. But things changed again, and yeah, now you're talking platforms and technologies that are different, and you can just flip flop between them. But you bring up a good point though. Like, you're building this out, so what's next for the community? Like, how can the community assist with getting this out? Because it's one thing to have a really cool technology which you guys have built now, but now the word has to get out. Like, what's the plan for there? What can we do? What can the community do to really get this going? What are you looking for?
Look, the best thing that we want to encourage people is actually come and pressure test it with us. Like, we've got something we know is valuable, but we want people to come and try and break it. You never know how good your car is until you take it on an off-road, right? Like that's kind of the whole idea. Yep. So we would encourage. Yeah, that's right. We'd encourage people to come and try it. Like, tell us what it's like. If you don't like things, tell us. We want to hear that feedback. We're not too proud to go, yeah, sure, that's your feedback. We need to look at that. This is, yeah, we're going to get a lot, and that's okay. Like, we're ready. We've got our bulletproof vests on and everything. But we want it. We want that feedback. We want users to come on and to try it and to look at it and to give it a go. And in that process, we're going to learn a lot, and we're going to make it better. And as we continue to refine and build, people will begin to go, yeah, this is actually working for me.
I'm a little upset actually, because I was actually hoping to see just not the two communities, but I want to see a Telestai community. I want to see a Flux community. I want to see an Ethereum community that's probably dead, but whatever. I want to still see it. A Solana community with the bazillion meme shitcoins on it.
Yeah.
I really want to start seeing that. So what can I do if I want to this afternoon, and I find a minute of time? Probably, maybe, hopefully. How is there any guidelines where I can stand up my node and then I can start my community and start playing with it already? Because I know you said you guys want to vet some of it at this point, which makes sense development wise. But how do I go? Where do I go for that?
I think firstly, jump in and download Zeroa. So go to the Chrome store, find it, install it, set up your extension, and then jump into Lasko and actually sign up as a user, and then just start plowing away. Jump into the Discord. We'll get you set up with a community and sort of show people how to do that and step them through the process as well, because we want to begin to expand this out. So we're actually here to serve you. We want to be there for people. So yeah, jump in and we'll help you to set up those nodes. And then I think the documentation around the node creation is something that we're still refining just a little bit, but we'll get that out very, very shortly. But users, jump in right now. You can do it in 5 minutes and you're basically on the platform. That's how simple and easy it is to get there.
Is there any requirement already to have TLS to be able to post at this point, or is it still all free?
None at the moment, because we wanted it to be a beta where people had no restrictions, and then what we'll do is we'll gradually implement that to prevent the bots, essentially. So yeah, you don't need any TLS; it's completely free. All it is your time, which is valuable, but not a restriction if you have it.
And how do I get TLS? Like I can mine it, I can buy it. What can I do?
So you can mine it. So jump on and have a look at our mining algo, which is Meraki. So it's very, very lightweight. It's easy to use. Most GPUs will run it very similarly to sort of an ETH power level, which is kind of how we designed it. But you can mine it with any GPU you've got. So that's the first thing. If you need any help with that, we've got a couple of tutorials on it, so you can jump in and have a look. But I'm running a 6-rig 3080 at the moment on it, and it's just.
I'll be very honest. My 580s are still mining Telestai, because the fun. I think I told you at one point, right? Like I had a mining rig that was turned off after the Ethereum switch. The only thing I did was I pointed at the algorithm you guys have and the miner and a mining pool. But I left the settings on my Ethereum mining still. So I didn't even touch any of those parameters, and it's just like Ethereum mining. So my hat's off to you, because that's actually pretty cool that I can literally use my Ethereum mining rig now to mine Telestai. So
yep, and
cool.
that's how it should be. And then in terms of if you don't have a GPU rig, we're on CoinMetro, so jump on there, have a look. You can easily buy and grab some coin from there as well. So we've been pushed through that, which is great. So thank you to Kevin as well and the team there. So,
yeah, Kevin is a good dude. Yeah. So CoinMetro, I think Trade Ogre, ZegX.
Yeah, I think Trade Ogre is fine as well. ZegX, we're still a little bit curious about how that's all coming back online. So just be aware on that one. But Trade Ogre should be fine too. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, the guys have been from ZegX have been trying to do the right thing, and unfortunately, when people see a hack on an exchange, that's mostly always the end of the story. It seems that they've been trying to do the right thing at least. So I'll give them kudos there. Yeah. We're almost at the top of the hour. If the guys have any questions, by all means, put it in the chat. We'll see what we can answer. So community-wise, there's instructions to do mining. There's instructions to get to the coin if you want them, and then there's just instructions to set up the node and of course engage in the community that's already built. But I'll be looking and seeing if I can stand up my own community now for Flux. Kind of want to get that rolling. Things that are quite often, and they might not be a feature yet, but often people like to share things. Like, is there an option to share things? Like if I see something on another platform, and I'm on I'm on Lasko. Is it Lasko or that's not Lasko? Lasko is the wallet, right?
No, Zeroa is a wallet. Lasko is the platform. Yeah.
Okay, Lasko. So if I'm on Lasko, I can share things from other platforms. Is that an option, or is that something that's coming in the future?
It is. I think we just need to loosen the AI just a little bit to allow URLs to be posted. We basically locked URLs down just because we were a bit like, just need to, obviously gently into that process. But yeah, effectively, you'll be able to post whatever you want. So could be an image, could be whatever, link to a website. You can post any of that, and it should be pretty simple and easy.
All right. Any last minute things we should run?
No, just jump in and engage with us. We really want the feedback. We're enjoying the journey that we're on, and come like and subscribe to the X handle if you want to just see some of the updates of what we've got going through. But yeah, we're very optimistic that this is the first major step along a very cool journey that we're on. So come jump in.
All right. I'd put the link in the comments here as well. So if you have if you're interested in what Telestai AI is doing, the link is in the descriptions. You guys can find it there. Chief, thank you for guiding us through what you guys have been building. I've been following it as Bob, the Discord, for a long time now. I'm pretty impressed with what you guys have built so far, and the journey you guys have been on, because I know a young project always has a lot of scrutiny, like, oh, what is this, and when is the rug pull and all of this. No, you guys have been building and really sharing everything you guys are doing. You can go on the GitHub as well if you want to look and see what the guys are building. Go on their Discord if you haven't joined the Telestai Discord. If you go there, they're not as bad as us. Wink, ghosty on all the adheres and all the everyone's, but you can actually follow along and see what the guys are building, and you don't have to wait for an AMA to get that type of updates. But it's pretty cool. Yeah, my hats off to you guys on the progress. Think about it. It's not even. Is it a year old now? The project.
So Genesis Walk was 25th of July, but we didn't really, we were just kind of getting some stuff
it just
running and moving. Right? We really only released it in September in terms of very, very first iteration. And then it's been sort of, I think probably it's safe to say 6 months of just solid dev into it. And it's a fully Web3 built product now. So it's
from the ground up, no VC, no nothing.
Yeah.
Not easy, is it?
Nah, it's mate, the grind is, I've got no hair left now.
That's why I'm wearing a hat now. I think I'm getting bald now too. Yeah, no,
but the grind is there, but I think that's legit, and that's what makes this worth it. Is we're not influenced by anyone. You can trust that we haven't been paid by someone to do this. This is for the love of what we're trying to do. And we want to make this work for everyone.
Yeah, it's something people don't always understand. Like the grind is real, and having up to 7 people, keeping them engaged, keeping them motivated, and it's not like these guys are getting rich anytime soon because of all of this work, because it's just dedication and passion. That's the reward at the moment for the developers, and part of the reward for these guys is engaging with this platform, getting on it, testing it out, pointing out the bugs. As weird as that sounds, but pointing out the bugs to a developer is actually a nice way of seeing engagement, because that means that somebody's trying it out. That means that somebody's putting the time in to look at the work that's been done. So it's never a bad thing to point out bugs, guys. Don't feel bad doing that. Even if they react a little grumpy, but that's just developers. Chief, thank you for the time. I know it's pretty late where you are, so I'm gonna respect your time and make sure that you can go to bed now, because it's probably already Saturday for you, isn't it, at this point?
Yeah, it's been Saturday for about 2 hours, so it's cool.
All right. Thank you everybody for joining us. I'm really glad we were finally able to do this, because it's been a while. I'm kind of looking forward to see what, by the summertime, which is a couple months away now, how it has transformed, and because I saw the original Lasko, and seeing what it has become now, it yeah, miles apart from the original version. So pretty cool to see. I appreciate you guys using Flux AI. Every use case that uses Flux AI, I'm more than willing to put that in the spotlight. But I love the use case there, the Flux AI mall cop kind of thing. Be nice, guys. Be nice. I love it, especially knowing that we have a Dan walking around who likes to use certain words. It's kind of cool to see that somebody uses Flux AI to moderate. But that's a joke. That's we love Dan, but he's not here, so I can make fun of him. So, thank you. Any last words?
No, like just thank you again for all the support that you guys give. Flux has been an amazing partner for us, and you know, we couldn't have done this without you guys. So we're, you know, better together, right? Like that's how
Absolutely.
That's to be. So
Absolutely. All right, as Dan would say, lead us out, take us out. I don't know what he says, but thanks for having us. See ya.
cool. Bye.
Oh, why do they lie? Yeah. There's only one way to go, and that's Web 3.0. Don't be evil, Flux freeing all the people, fluxing on them now like a cheat code. Flux gon' keep you from a breach though, and you know we Web 3.0. Don't be evil, Flux freeing all the people, fluxing on them now like a cheat code. Flux gon' keep you from a breach though, and you know we Web 3.0. I know we fighting these corporate tyrants. They try to silence, but we can see they tried to censor our speech. They want no privacy. At night I can't sleep, cause my data they gonna breach. Don't be evil, Flux freeing all the people, fluxing on them now like a cheat code. Flux gon' keep you from a breach though, and you know we Web 3.0. Don't be evil, Flux freeing all my people, fluxing on them now like a cheat code. Flux gon' keep you from a breach though, and you know we Web 3.0, and you know we Web 3.0, and you know we Web 3.0.